Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to my Venus series. So in today's video we are going to be taking a look at the self-worth of Venus in Taurus ruling the second house. So this video can resonate if you have both of these placements. Now before we do get started, if you would like to know more information all about the Venus signs, the Venus houses, the Taurus house and the second house within astrology, then I have created a Taurus season / Taurus archetype ebook, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide a link to that ebook in the description box below so that you can pick up your copy today. So with all of those introductions out of the way, Venus in Taurus or Taurus ruling the second house, let's do this. Alright, so let's just explain the second house within astrology to begin with. Now, the second house can provide us with an indication into how our identity and security is formed based upon the things that we attach ourselves to, whether that be money, materials, people, or our belief systems, and so on. It's the second house that can be viewed as representing the time in our lives or the stage in our lives by which we become more consciously aware of ourselves. And according to Howard Sass-Pertez, from around 6 months old, we start to then recognize that we even have a body. But research also can show that we start to become more self-aware from around 18 months old. Therefore, it is from the second house that we start to build upon who we are based upon the material world and how we really reflect on the material world. So in this way, it could be suggested that the products or materials or items that we own are a reflection of ourselves because they reflect things about us. So for example, the materials and products you own can reflect your taste. They can reflect your style, they can reflect your likes and your dislikes, all of these very Venetian things. But they can also reflect our financial situation and our skills and our talents as well. For example, if you were to buy a foundation which is worth $50 over a foundation which is worth $10, that may reflect then your financial situation. And would you be able to afford that foundation if you weren't skilled in the job that you work in order to buy it in the first place? Basically, it is from the second house that we form our own sense of self-worth or value. So what do you value? Who do you value? Do you value yourself and others? And what do you base your self-worth upon and why? So essentially, this is about you going outside of yourself in order to really discover what is located within. Okay, so for those of you who have your Venus in the sign of Taurus or have Taurus ruling your second house, by which I'm going to address you as Taurus throughout this video, well, we notice that your physical security was provided to you gradually and steadily, suggesting that there was a nice steady flow of cash or income coming into the household through the certain occupations that your financial providers or provider had or made. Now, of course, these financial providers may most likely be your parents, okay? But yeah, even on that note, with a parent, maybe a parent was a banker, or maybe your parent worked within the financial industry, or perhaps they were a cook, either being paid, right, for their cooking, so they could have been a chef, but it could also be a matter of you might have saw or seen your parent as the cook. So for example, say your mother could have been a stay-at-home mother who would cook for you and your family, and so you might have perceived her to be the person that really provided for your family. Then again, like I said, it could just be that your parent had a particular job as a cook or as a chef. Or maybe it's that money was made to provide physical security via selling products and certain items from within the home. Then again, it could be that finances became stuck sometimes, okay? So for example, perhaps a parent would be greedy with their finances, or maybe a certain parent or financial provider could be rather stubborn with their finances, possibly resulting in potential financial difficulties for you and your family. Either way, Taurus, you might have had this desire to obtain stability and security in your life, and so you're going to be willing to wait quite some time in order to gain financial successes that you wish to achieve. You are going to be patient throughout the process, and you're not going to give in easily to outside distractions that can make you fall off. However, it's this same attitude that can get you caught up in some relatively sticky situations as well, Taurus. And it's these very same situations that you can find difficult to get out of due to your own stubborn tendencies. Which, by the way, these very same stubborn tendencies and attitudes could have actually been developed due to this certain financial provider or parent, or due to how money was managed within your financial security. Though still, what types of situations, so these really stuck situations, stuck in a rut situations, might I be referring to, Taurus? For example, Taurus, you might be with a particular partner long past the use-by date, so to speak, or you might stay to make it work, but then you just end up exploding. You just might explode, Taurus, because you simply can't take it anymore. You might be the type of Taurus who is in a situation where you work for a particular company who says, yeah, next week, or next month, or next year, we will give you that raise, or we will promote you, Taurus. But no, the time never comes. Yet, you will stay due to your loyalties, only to be left with nothing at the end of it. Then again, it could be that you're the type of Taurus who just refuses to listen to the opinions of anybody else around you who actually mean you well. However, it is still this same desire for obtaining security and stability that can be of great benefit to you, Taurus, because it is you who is willing to put in the work and put in the time in order to achieve these things. However, you also might strongly value comfort and pleasure. So you're not going to work yourself so much into the ground, and if you ever do find yourself in a sticky situation by which you do run yourself into the ground, then you'll be able to sort of get to this point where you realize, you know what, I don't really feel like this is providing me much comfort and ease anymore, and maybe it is that I really need to make a change. But it's just that it can take a while in order for you to arrive to that conclusion. And you know, that's okay, because we all learn at our own pace, and life is not a race, as they say. You might just get to this stage where you realize that all of this working is just taking way too much of your time, or you might get to a point where you realize that you're never getting time to yourself, you're never getting time to spend with your family, you're never getting time to, you know, indulge in the pleasures and comforts that come with the fruits of your labor. So whilst you do value the importance of working, you also value the importance of relaxation and really taking some time to indulge in the pleasures located within the material world. Perhaps even here, Taurus, your financial providers, they would buy you items of comfort when you were younger, or maybe they would take time to really enjoy special, valuable moments with you. Or maybe it's just simply that the material world, it was strongly emphasized as you were growing up. So for example, perhaps you have a parent who would get really defensive over someone else touching their jar of cookies or touching a certain item they owned. Or maybe you have a parent who would wake you up on a Saturday and be like, come on Taurus, let's go to work, let's go to my job, I want to take you, I want to show you how it's done. It could even just be here that food was just strongly valuable between your family, or it was a valuable thing when it came to your own security, so to feel good, to feel like, oh, this is really enjoyable, and that food in the kitchen is something that brings people together. But ultimately, providing for yourself, so for your own personal financial matters and physical security, these things may just have become part of your value system, Taurus. So when it comes to your self-worth, you might base it upon how well you can provide for yourself. And if you ever feel like you can't provide for yourself, you can become a rather difficult person to be around. You just do not like to feel like you're not in control of the material world, and so if you ever experience any financial difficulty or huge change that just suddenly comes out of nowhere, you might become overly fearful and scared. However, with that being said, it doesn't have to be to this extent, right? So it could be simply that you feel less valued if someone leaves you, for example, after you've been in that relationship for so long and you've committed and you were loyal and you put in all the time and all this energy into this relationship, and then they just leave. And so this in itself can certainly have a sort of impact on your self-worth, Taurus. It could even be as something as small as your favorite bread no longer being in stock or being discontinued from Walmart, and then you take it really personal, or you feel just like a lot of dissatisfaction from it. But Taurus, it is realizing that the material world does not have any real control over your own self-worth. But at the same time, it's also understanding that you can't have full control over the material world either. And that's okay. Sometimes, Taurus, things happen that are not within your control. People leave, for example. Bread goes stale, for example. The ingredients run low. I'm just joking. Your flowers and your plants are soon going to die, Taurus. They're going to die. So yes, whilst the material world, it is stagnant, it's also in motion continuously. But Taurus, you are learning to move with the cycles and to value the process of Mother Nature. Remember, Taurus, that it's these controlling, stubborn types of attitudes, these possessive types of attitudes that you have a tendency of indulging in sometimes. These types of attitudes can lead you towards a rather difficult space, because the moment that something changes within your reality, right? So financially, physically, so I mean, the moment you realize, you know, that daddy is no longer the strongest, or that mommy was just lying the whole time, or the moment you realize that that ex-girlfriend cheated on you with multiple partners and you never even knew, it's like, who are you then? What is your value then, Taurus? You know what? Perhaps some of you have gotten to a space in your lives before by which you have just wanted to give up. You've just wanted to give up on love. You've just wanted to give up on yourselves. But you gotta realize that the more that you depend on the outside world to value you, the harder you might fall whenever the outside world no longer provides the physical need that you crave or that you want. So for example, maybe there is a partnership in your life that you really feel needs to end, but you're still in it. Why are you still in it? What is it about that relationship that brings you value? And what is it about that relationship that you place value into? Does your partner receive love from you? And do you have love provided to you from your partner? See, you might base your self-worth upon how much you have, and so this can be in a physical or financial way, but it can also be in a spiritual or intellectual way. So for example, you might base your self-worth upon how beautiful or lavishing your partner is. You might base your self-worth upon how much money you have in the bank. You might base it upon how spiritually inclined you are, or you might base your self-worth upon how much knowledge you have acquired because it pays the bills. So Taurus, this is really about you becoming more aware of how you base your own self-worth upon the financial world and upon the relationships that you experience. But the idea here, Taurus, is for you to share both your material possessions as well as your ability to acquire and accumulate objects and materials with others. So for example, right, say you have a partner who asks for a favor from you, or say you have a friend who is explaining to you that they feel a little bit insecure right now and so they need some advice or help. What you could do is you could give this certain person some really great practical advice that could truly help them. Maybe it's that that friend is in a bit of a difficult financial situation themselves, and so you could be very good at managing your own finances, budgeting your own finances, and so you can also help them and give them practical advice when it comes to their finances. You could also, for example, go and get your friend some water, or you can invite them round to your house for a good chat, or you can take them to their favorite ice cream place because you know that that's going to help cheer them up. Or you could try giving your partner a massage after a long hard day at work, or you could give them just a little small gift just to say, hey, I see you, hey, I'm here for you. Basically, Taurus, you can certainly help others by verbally sharing value systems that have helped you on your journey. But really, Taurus, there is such a power found whenever you are able to engage in this really genuine sharing space when it comes to what you've experienced, or when it comes to these certain things that you've accumulated. Maybe, Taurus, you've experienced a relationship before that has really hurt you and has impacted your self-worth in some way. But then you can explain to someone else who is going through a similar situation and tell them what you experienced in that way and what you did in order for you to build yourself back up again. And this in itself can maybe help somebody else. It can encourage them. So essentially, by you becoming aware of the insecurities of other people, you can then use your own self-worth as a way to validate their experiences by showing them that they're not alone. Taurus, you just might have this tendency of withholding possessions from others. You might have the tendency of withholding what you can offer the material world due to your own stagnant, stubborn tendencies. And you also have the tendency of withholding your own essential fulfillments from within a relationship. But it's realizing when these things can be rather detrimental to you, and realizing whenever they are keeping you back from fully sharing and embracing your talents and your desires with others. So to embrace your sensuality and appreciation for beauty and serenity and love. But to also know the fine difference between what is coming from the bank balance and from your heart. So Taurus, how do you measure your self-worth? Is it measured by your ability to maintain the status quo or to create stability within your life? Or is it measured by how much money or possessions you have acquired? Or is it measured by the pleasure and the comfort and the satisfaction that you feel and enjoy ever so much? Okay, so I totally just realized that I thought I recorded the outro for this video, but it did not record. So yes, that concludes the Venus and Taurus / Taurus ruling the second house video. Now, with that in mind, if you have any of these placements, I would like to know what you thought of the video, and also if you have any other things you want to provide, any other information, because there's not really a lot of information out there that exists when it comes to self-worth and astrology, so that would be really helpful. So yeah, with all that being said then, guys, thank you so much for watching, thank you for subscribing, and if you have not yet clicked that subscribe button and you want to see more videos from myself, then what you waiting for? Go click it, keep up to date, and I'll be back with another video very, very soon. Bye!